This boy was named Barnum. He was standing in front of a clothing store. There he imagined himself wearing the cool suit he saw. His father was a tailor. He always accompanied his father to cloth shops and visit customers. Barnum and his father were at a customer's house that day. The customer has a beautiful daughter named Charity. It looks like she's being trained on tea etiquette. That Barnum made her laugh, and because of that Charity was scolded by her father. He tried to defend her, but instead he got a slap from Charity's father. After that, Barnum went to the beach not far from Charity's house. While he was contemplating, Charity came up to him. There they talk about the future. Charity was forced by her father to finish school. She was confused because she did not know what the future would be like. Barnum smiled and said if he knew what their future would be like. He then invited Charity to go to an empty house not far from her house. They climbed over the fence and went inside. Barnum imagined that one day he would be successful and be able to own a house like this, and he's going to take her to live with him. But of course it's just a dream. Poor Barnum, unable to continue his schooling. On the other hand, Charity continued her studies outside the city, and Barnum carried on with his life as before, but they always communicate using letters. But after his father died, now Barnum is alone. He had neither a job, a place to live, nor an educational degree. When he was very hungry, he ventured to steal a piece of bread, but unfortunately, he was caught and the bread in his hand was taken back by the shop owner. In his sadness, suddenly someone approached him and took out an apple for him. When he received the apple, Barnum was slightly surprised to see the face that gave the apple that looked abnormal. Strange face shape. He starts working to survive. He collects good old newspapers to resell. Not long after, he became a laborer for the construction of a railroad. Time passes quickly. Barnum is now an adult. Even though his life is just enough, but Barnum has worked as an employee in a company. He then worked up the courage to apply for Charity. Even though her father didn't agree, he still gave permission to Barnum. They then married and had 2 daughters. Their children named Caroline and Helen. One day Barnum and other workers get laid off. The company went bankrupt because the ship to send the goods it owned had sunk in the South China Sea. Hearing that, he secretly forged proof of boat ownership and take it in his bag. At home he was increasingly sad to see the leaky roof of his house. Barnum immediately notified his wife when he was laid off. Very supportive Charity only responds casually. This is proof that the importance of having the right partner. Turns out it was Caroline's birthday that day. She asked her father for a gift. Barnum then showed them a lamp. He said that the lamp could grant wishes.
I wish for ballet slippers. I wish to marry Santa Claus.
And as a father, of course it is very sad if he can't grant his daughter request. In the morning he went to the bank to apply for a loan. While waiting, he saw a dwarf in front of him. His gaze was amazed to see such a person, and when applying, the bank loan asks for collateral. Barnum then issued a ship ownership certificate belonging to his company. Finally his loan was approved. His wife was amazed that her husband was able to get a bank loan of $10,000. That loan was used to buy a building next to the wharf. He then became Barnum's Odd Museum, although not too familiar with the new mind. But his wife continues to support his museum endeavors. Barnum, assisted by his little family, started selling museum tickets. But unfortunately, visitors who come only a few. Even though he was getting frustrated, he still didn't give up. Night while saying goodnight to his 2 daughters. He got input from his 2 daughters. They sure are. Barnum then considered his daughter's input. In contemplating that input, he saw an apple on the table. There he remembered the strange-looking person who used to give him apples when he was still a bum. He finally got an idea. The next day he came to a house. There he meets Charles, whom he saw at the bank. Charles is very short, like a 3-year-old, although he is already 22 years old. There Barnum offered him to join the circus he would create. Although he initially refused, Barnum finally succeeded in convincing Charles to join. He then continued his crazy idea. He spreads posters looking for freaks to join the circus, and it turns out that quite a lot of strange people want to come to him to join the circus. The circus troupe eventually formed, with members including a bearded female singer named Letty, a tightrope acrobat brother and sister named Wheeler and a very tall man named Irish Giant, a dwarf named Charles, and many others. Advertisements for the first cycle of performances began to be printed. At that time the circus still used the name Barnum Museum. One by one the visitors started arriving. The first show turned out to be a huge success and gained more and more visitors after the first show. A critic named Bennett wrote in the paper, and that's how the word circus came about. Seeing the criticism in the newspaper, Barnum's marketing brain worked. He asked his employee to print an advertisement that there would be a discount the next show. New marketing strategy is successful. Tickets for the second show sold out in no time. The circus was successful and increasingly recognized by many people. The name of the Barnum Museum was finally changed to P.T. Barnum Circus. He then bought his dream house since childhood. The house was not far from Charity's parents' house. He also bought ballet flats for Caroline. Caroline began practicing ballet and performing as a dancer, but she is shunned by her friends because her father is a circus man. Because of that, Caroline wanted to stop dancing ballet. The incident made Barnum realize that his reputation in society was not good. Many people consider the circus to be shameful. The next day Barnum met Philip Carlyle to ask for cooperation. Philip is an artist who comes from a respectable family. he performed his own shows and received recognition from the public. Barnum then asked Philip to join his circus. If Philip joins, then the reputation of the circus can improve. After Barnum convinced Philip, he finally agreed to join, and he got 10% of the profits from Barnum's circus. The first day came to the circus, Philip fascinated with Anne. He fell in love at first sight. Meanwhile, in front of the building, the demonstrators staged an action against the circus. The next day, Bennett's story reappeared in the newspapers about coverage of last night's demonstration. Luckily, Philip found a solution. He successfully lobbied for the British Empire. Barnum's circus was then invited directly by Queen Victoria. They arrived at the Han Palace and met Queen Victoria. While talking, a woman named Jenny Lind came into the room. Jenny is a famous opera singer in Europe. There, Barnum met her and asked her to join the circus. That night, he prepared a special performance room for Jenny. He wanted to hear her voice, and it turned out that Jenny was very talented indeed. Bennett was also there and said Jenny's show was art, not like a circus. Hearing that, Barnum became ashamed of his circus troupe. They do not accept being treated racist continuously. They then decided to fight. They dare to show themselves to the public, even though not during the circus stage. After returning from England, Barnum wanted to do a stage tour with Jenny. He planned a tour of 60 opera performances. Phillips tried to prevent it on the grounds of cost, but Barnum had already taken out another loan and was sure of his decision. He then gave Philip the responsibility. He handed the circus over to Philip. After that, Philip took Anne to see the theater, and when they were about to enter, they met Philip's parents. Philip tries to convince Anne not to care about other people. That may be easy for the majority, but Anne is a minority that has always been perceived as different, and she chose to reject his love. On the other hand, Charity felt that the Barnum tour was not the right decision. His ambition was reckless and excessive. Hearing that, he felt angry. He still wanted to prove himself to the world. His wife feels lonely, left by her husband. During the tour, Jenny fell in love with Barnum, but he rejected her because he was a loyal man. She then got angry and wanted to quit the tour, and Barnum didn't think Jenny was serious. And in the evening, the show will be held as usual. But after the show, Jenny kissed Barnum on stage, which was witnessed by many people and had been photographed by many journalists. On the other hand, at the circus, the thugs started getting more aggressive. They want to expel the circus troupe, which is considered the warehouse of freaks. Finally, they fight. When Barnum meets his family, he hears that the circus has caught fire. He immediately went to the location and made sure all members were safe. All the circus members had left the building except Anne. Philip finally broke into the building to find Anne, but it turns out that Anne is already outside. The flames are getting bigger. Everyone panicked because Philip was inside. Barnum finally worked up the courage to go inside to find Philip.
He's taking a lot of smoke. He's still breathing. Come on.
The next day, Barnum sat resignedly in front of the building, which only left rubble. There, Bennett came to him and sympathized. Although he disliked the circus, he thought what Barnum was doing was great. Now he just depends on Jenny's tour. But it turns out that Jenny really stopped as per her words. The story was in large print in the newspaper with a picture of Barnum kissing Jenny. Seeing that picture printed in the newspaper, he then felt a panic. He immediately went home to meet his wife to give an explanation. But it was too late. His wife would not listen to him. She already felt lied to, and finally she left him. After being abandoned by his wife, Barnum became depressed and drunk alone. But suddenly the circus members came to him and comforted him. They still care about Barnum. Finally, Barnum looked for his wife to her parents' house. There, Barnum apologized to her. He promised to be a better person in the future. After his wife returned to him, he then went to meet the members of the circus. Funds hindered his desire to build a burning building. The bank also rejected his loan application. And at that time, Philip offered savings from his salary so far to be used to build the circus again on condition that he asked for a fair commission as a partner, which was 50% of the profits. And to save money, they don't buy buildings, and performances are performed in a large tent. And that was the beginning of tented circuses appearing in America. If we continue to care for our dreams, then one day they can come true. So keep the spirit and never give up. Thank you for fighting until now.